Hi, good morning. I'm Julie Cornejo, and I am a professional top stylist for Clairol Professional. And I'm here live with you today from my home, and I want to share some great tips about going brighter and face framing highlights for summer. So I have a beautiful model here, and I've pre-done her hair, and this is one of the looks that I'm going to be talking about. And with Clairol Professional, we have a toolbox. I mean, just an immeasurable amount of products that are there available for you to create these beautiful summer looks. One of the main products I'm talking about today is going to be BW2. And it is our powder lightener. It's creamy, it's rich, it stays moist, and you're going to get great highlights from it. So you're going to see me using this product live here today. And I want to talk about different types of highlights. So we're going to talk about two different things. We're going to talk about highlights that you do that go all the way to the scalp. And then we're going to talk about what some of you know as balayage highlights. How do I achieve that at home? How can I do that on myself? So we can't always get to the salon. I know right now hairdressers are hella busy. So they are just doing tons of work, and maybe you can't get in, and maybe you want to brighten up for the summer. So let's get to it. This is one of my looks. What I want to show you is that the difference between highlighting and balayage. So if we look at this beautiful model that I have prepared, and I'm going to get her a little bit closer here so you guys can really see. So the main thing with her is that you're going to notice when I show you her is that her highlights are all the way at her scalp. You see how nice those are around her hairline? Okay, so this is the first highlighting technique that I'm going to show that you're going to do on yourself. We're only doing this in the front part of the hair. So when I turn her around, this particular model, this is the back of her hair. She's a beautiful brunette, and I made that beautiful brunette shade using Clairol Professional Cream Permanente. So this is what you're looking at for Cream Permanente. And that is a great product. It's a permanent hair color. It has 49 intermixable shades. I'm working with a lot of the ashes and a lot of the neutrals. So neutrals are going to be good for gray coverage. So many of you might actually have gray hair and you're thinking, how can I get highlights and I can cover my gray? Well, we've got you covered because you can actually do these techniques and cover your gray. So you're going to use the Cream Permanente if you're going to be covering gray, and you can use the neutral shades to get the best amount of coverage. But if you're worried about getting brassy results, you can mix your neutrals with your ash tones. So here's some of the ashes. And then your neutral shades are going to be great for gray coverage. The best thing about these products is that these products are going to be on special for Prime Day. So that is going to be June 21st. You're going to have a virtual coupon for 30% off, which is a really, really amazing deal. And I hope you guys are able to take advantage of it. So don't forget about Prime Day on June 21st. So let me show you the other look, and then I'll get started showing you a demonstration on how you're going to achieve these looks on yourself. So this is our second look, and this is more of a balayage highlight. So balayage is basically, it means to paint, or you're going to paint the hair versus really, really saturating. You're really just going to be painting on the surface. And I think for a lot of people, this is going to be an eye-opening experience because you're probably like, what does my stylist do when she does a balayage? How does she achieve those results? So the difference is really this, and I'll get her a little bit closer again so you can see. She has a little bit more of a rooted area. So when you look at her highlights, let me turn her here, you can see that her highlights are not to the scalp like on the previous model that I showed you. But what you get is already sort of a grown in sort of look to your highlights. And this is great for the girls who have gray coverage. So you want to cover your gray, and then you also want to put some face framing highlights in. So we're only talking about doing the front of your hair. And what's beautiful about doing the front of your hair, and I know a lot of you girls probably do this, so you could look from the side, that's what she would look like from the side. But when we put our fingers in our hair, and who doesn't like do this to their hair? I mean, everybody does at one point in time. But when we put our fingers through our hair, or we brush our hair back in a very natural way, some of those highlights from the front kind of fall back into the sides and it falls back into the back of the hair. So you get this real great pop of color in the front, and it kind of gradually blends into your natural color or the color you've created, maybe for gray coverage in the back. So it's actually a really, really great technique. So those of you who have gray hair, you're really going to want to watch this particular technique and how to do it on yourself. So let's get started with the other model. I'm going to bring in my lovely lady here, and she has not had anything done to her hair just yet, except for a nice Clairol Professional Premium Cream Permanente. Okay, so she is actually a mixture of the 6A, which is a level 6 ash, and about 1/4 of an ounce of the 5NN. So I mixed two colors together to get the maximum amount of gray coverage with my neutral shade, and then also to cut the brassiness. So everybody, when you lighten your hair, you're going to get brassy undertones. That is just the way that color works. So how do we combat brassy undertones? Well, we use ash tones. So ash tones will combat the brassy tones. So if you have gray coverage, you want to use a neutral, but you can also use ash in your formula to kick the brass, so to speak. All right, so let me get started showing you these techniques. First, I'm going to show you the technique. If you want your highlights, let's say you don't have gray hair and you just want to pop up the highlights in the front, like the first gal that I showed you. I'll bring her back in really quick, just like this. So she just has her highlighting. She's very shy, so she likes to wear her hair in her face. But her highlighting is also just in the front, but she's the one I mentioned that you've got all this like right to the scalp. So you're going to really, really see a lot of color, a lot of blonde with this particular technique for her. All right, let's get started. So let me talk about some of the things that you're going to need when you do this. You are going to need some foils, okay? You can buy these, they come in a box, or you can just rip the ones you have in your kitchen if you like. You're also going to need a whole bunch of clips. Okay, so I use these clips, but it really doesn't matter. You can even use these clips if you have these little chompy ones. Whatever's going to hold the sections away and hold the hair back, that's what you want to use. You're also going to need gloves, most importantly, because you want to mix the color with gloves on and you want to do the color with gloves on. You want to protect yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on right now while I tell you the rest of the things that you're going to need in order to achieve these results. You're also going to need a tail comb. I prefer one with a metal tip, but anything with a skinny bottom and sort of a point, because you're going to want to highlight through the hair and you're going to want to make a clean section. You're also going to need a brush. You're also going to need a bowl. Now I have already pre-mixed my basic white BW2 lightener. This is the lightener that I'm working with. This is an amazing product. It has been around my whole entire career. And so therefore, it wouldn't be around if it wasn't that awesome. So it's going to be available on Prime Day at a special 30% discount. And that's June 21st. So you're not going to want to miss out on that. So I'll show you how rich and creamy this product is. So rich, so creamy. This is the consistency you want to work with. The mixing instructions are on the package, but I always like to mix a little bit to the consistency that works for me. I like it rich and creamy. There's a little tiny blue scoop. You can use the blue scoop. I do 1 blue scoop, 1 scoop of developer. That's how I do the product. But on the package, there are directions that you can follow. It's for a large amount of lightener to mix up. So you want to mix up what you need, not more than what you need. You can always mix more. So you're going to need the bowl, the brush, the clips, the comb, the foils, and of course the product, which in this case, we're going to be starting out with just BW2. It's a de-dusted lightener. It has a rich and creamy formula. So this is for if you want to do face framing highlights and you want them to go all the way to the scalp and you're not going to be putting a color on first, you're just going to be doing your highlights. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your comb with your gloves on. You're going to section the hair right on top of the ear. So you basically want all the hair in the front because we're talking about face framing, so that's not going to have anything to do with the back of your hair. So when you take that out and when you pull that away, you're just going to go ahead and clip that hair out of the way. So you're just going to have the hair that's in the front. I'm just going to work on this one side because I'm going to show you one side for the foiling and the highlights that go to the scalp for face framing highlights. And then on the other side, I'm going to show you the balayage technique and explain how you can retouch your base color and also do face framing balayage highlights at the same time. So the main thing you're going to do when you're doing face framing highlights that go to the scalp is you're going to make that section that I showed you from the top of the head just to the top of the ear. Then you're going to take another section that I like to say is usually in the recession. So the recession is usually where your hair kind of goes in. The mannequin heads are always like a little bit different, but like the high point of the eyebrow is a really good place to kind of make a reference to. And this is going to be your side section. So I'm just going to show you a couple of foilings so that you can see how you would do that. So this is your sectioning right here that you would have, okay? So you've got this section and you might be doing it on yourself. So if you're doing it on yourself, you're still going to be doing the same thing. You're still going to be parting the hair where your ear is, and you're still going to be taking the same sectioning. You're just going to be pulling the hair probably close to your face, so you're going to be doing it in the mirror. I know that looks crazy, and you'll probably look crazy in your bathroom too, but you'll have a good time and you'll get a good result if you follow these little tips. So sectioning that out, and you can see we have that whole hairline. So depending on how your hairline is, you might want to take like a little bit of the hairline out if you don't want one right on your hairline. But if you want one right off on your hairline, which I'm going to show you, you're going to be able to just do it right off of here. So the main thing is that you're going to want to do more of a weaving technique. So you're going to go in and out with your highlighting comb. And you can see I've made, pull it across your face because it'll pull across your face like that when you're going to put the foil in. So you can see how it's a weave. So these are going to be the pieces that are going to be highlighted, okay? And I'll show that one more time. But you're just going to weave the comb in and out right on the hairline, unless you don't want your hairline in there. And then I'm going to show you that as well. You're just going to take that same weave in and out. You're going to put that hair aside, and you're going to move to your next section. So let's work from here. And my second clip is just going to go back here to clip the hair away. So you see how I have a pretty clean section, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to weave. So you're going in and out at the top, and then you're going to pull that hair away. So you see your section here, and then you're going to take your foil, and you can do this a couple ways. If you're doing this on your own head, you're going to be pulling across your face. So make sure that with one of your eyes, you can see what you're doing. I like to put the comb in like this at the top and then fold it over. But you're also welcome to just put it in if you want to go ahead and just put it in like that. You could do that as well. I find that putting the comb in, and this is a real good pro tip, it gives you like an anchor. So you can really pull down on this hair on the bottom, and it holds the foil to the section. Then you're going to take your lightener, you're going to get a good amount on your brush, and you're going to paint from the very top, okay? You don't want to go too far that you go over because you don't want your foil to bleed out. Then at this point, you see how I could let go of it, because at this point, this is like a glue. It's sticking the hair to the foil with my lightener. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to paint all the way down, make sure that I get all of the ends of the hair. You really, really want to saturate nicely, because sometimes you don't get actual really good lift or lightening unless you saturate really, really well. So if you've ever tried to do highlights on your own and they didn't come out quite right, it might be that you didn't have enough product on the actual hair. So once you get your foil in, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to fold it up. So I like to fold it where I fold it in half once, and then I just turn the sides. When you're at home, however it's comfortable for you to fold it up, that's how you should fold it up. You don't want it scrunched because you want the hair to be flat and you want it to develop nicely. But you could do two folds if you wanted to. It's really up to you. This is the way that I would do it, okay? And then you're going to continue this for 3 foils, maybe 4 if you have a lot of hair in the front of your head, or you're just feeling like you want to be extra blonde and you want more highlighting. you can go back 4 foils. The next thing you would do for this particular highlighting is, you see now we've sectioned off the front of the hair. So you would just go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. You would part from the top of the head to the back of the ear, and then you would have this section in the front sort of would look about like that. That's what you would have in the front of the hair. You would have about this much hair. So I'm going to show you what you would do here. So again, you're going to be starting in the front. I like to take one little section right here on the hairline and pull that out. I always do that kind of in the front, unless I'm doing a lot of blonding and they want to be really, really close to the scalp. That's really up to you. That's your design. That's your desire. So clip that out of the way, and you're going to do the same thing. So you're basically going to weave in and out. So we call this weaving or highlighting versus slicing. So if you want a bigger, bolder strand, a slice is when you just take the comb and you go all the way across with no weaving in and out. A pro tip that I always give is that you want this section to be thin enough to be able to read a paper through or read a book through. That's really the key. You can do multiple sections, but you want it to be a fine section, whether you're weaving or whether you're slicing. So those are the two different types of highlighting. Again, you're going to go back maybe 3 foils, maybe 4 at the very, very most. And that is going to give you a really nice face framing highlight. So for this particular technique, you're going to have maybe, let's say 3, 6, maybe about 9 foils, 11 tops. I'm kind of into the odd numbers versus the even numbers. It's just a me thing. But you're going to go ahead and not have more than 12. So that's really how you're going to focus on a face framing highlight that is all the way to the scalp. And again, I'm using basic BW2. So this is one of Clairol Professional's most popular lighteners, and it's been around forever and it's still amazing. It lightens beautifully. So that is how you're going to go ahead with a face framing highlight that is to the scalp, either highlighting or weaving with your comb or slicing. Okay. So now I'm going to get into, I want to go back over here and I want to show you guys, let me bring this model in now and explain a little bit more. Oh, hello. She got really up close and personal. But what I want to show you guys about her is that her highlights don't necessarily go to her scalp. And I think you can see that it's sort of blended in. So when we talk about balayage highlighting or balayage or hair painting, this is the technique I'm going to be showing now. So you can see it kind of blends into her side. She's got nice bright pops of color around her face, and then it kind of fades into her darker color in the back. This one, I also use the Clairol Professional Premium Cream Permanente, and I use the 5NN and 6A again. I just did more proportions of the 5NN this time. I wanted it to have a little bit more depth than just the 6AA. Now this model, let's just say she has great coverage. So I did this technique all at the same time. You can do it separately or you can do it all at the same time. So I'm going to show this technique next on this beautiful head of hair. So I'm on the other side. And when you're doing this technique, the balayage technique, if you wanted to do your touch-up first, what you would do is you would mix your touch-up. So you're applying it only to your new growth, and you're going to mix a neutral and maybe an ash if you have a lot of hair that is still brown. If you have a lot of hair that is still gray, you're going to mix more neutral and just a little bit of ash. But how you do a balayage technique, it's more of a hair painting situation. So same sectioning, top of the head to the top of the ear, you're having the same amount of hair. We're just working on that front of the hair. We're not working on the back. This is face framing highlights. So with this particular technique, you're going to be taking much larger sections than I showed you for the previous highlighting technique. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to take a diagonal back, meaning from the back to the front, it's going to look like a diagonal chunk of hair like that. I know everyone can see that. That is going to be my first section. I am going to be coloring most of this hair. So you might have your touch up on here, and then you're going to be applying the color to this. This takes a little bit of practice, but it's easier than it looks. So if you don't have color here, what you're going to do is you're going to back comb the hair one time. So you're going to put the comb in and you're going to push it back to the scalp. What this does is it already alleviates having a strong hard line. So then you're going to take your lightener and you're going to turn your brush so it's horizontal, and in the middle of the section, you're going to paint, okay, just like I am. You see where I started? And then I'm going to turn my brush so it's more vertical, and I'm going to paint the hair only on the top of the hair. So I'm going to show you this section in a second. So I feather up a little bit just to make it soft. Again, I'm pulling really, really tight on the bottom so that I have almost like a board-like surface. And I'm going to go till I almost can't go anymore without touching my hands. Then I'm going to grab my foil. I'm going to put the foil underneath, but look at the underneath of the section. There's no color there, okay? So you're going to put your foil down. And if you're doing this on yourself, again, you want to make sure you can see what you're doing. You're going to be bringing this hair foil. I'm going to put the foil like that. I've taken my hand away. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint on top and stick this to my foil. Okay, so now I'm just continuing to paint on top, getting a nice saturation. Can everybody see that? Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another foil and I'm just going to place it right on the top. Okay, so you want to maybe just anchor this a little bit. You can use this part of your comb to kind of fold things over. And there's going to be no color on the underneath part. I'm going to do one more section so everyone can see. So you might have a retouch. You might have color on the root of your hair while you're covering your gray, and you're doing this at the same time. So while your gray coverage is processing, you're also adding face framing highlights. So again, you just take diagonal sections, but I'm taking big sections and I'm taking whole entire sections because only the top of the hair gets painted, not the underneath. So again, let's just do one more. So if you have color on, I don't know that you necessarily need to back comb one time, but if you do not have color on, you're going to take your comb, you're going to put it in here, and you're going to push it all the way to the scalp, and you really only need to do one time. Again, I start in the middle so I could just apply some product there, and then I turn my brush more vertically, and that's where I start to paint. So you see how it's more like a painting situation than it is like an actual coloring. So I feel a little bit more artistic when I do this. I don't know why, but I do. So this is your second foil, and you get so much blonde from doing this. Honestly, the mannequin head I showed you guys, I did just 3 sections on each side and then 1 in the middle, so 7 sections total. And she got really, really blonde. And she also had her gray covered at the same time. So again, I placed the foil underneath and I'm just painting on the top. So you don't want to really press or saturate. You're just painting the top of this section. So you see how nice and saturated that is. And then again, you come over and you put your foil right on top, and then you just want to anchor it shut by folding the sides in. Okay? So I continued with the balayage technique, and I literally just kept going. I took this section right here. So this started to incorporate, I'll turn her so you can see her face. This started to incorporate her hairline a little bit, but I just took that whole entire section, pulled it back, painted in here. You're left with kind of a little bit of a corner. And so when you're left with that corner, I just did one section really right here on the top of her head where I was left with a corner. Same technique, just painting on top using the BW2. So I want to recap what we've done already and what we're talking about today. So this is face framing highlights. This is great for summer blonding. This is great for you to do at home. Can't get into your stylist. You don't have a stylist. You're feeling like a stylist and you want to do something fun using Clairol Professional and our great products. So I've been using BW2. This is our fantastic powder lightener. Also been talking about Clairol Professional's Cream Permanente. So this is the boxes and this is what it looks like. I've been using the ash and neutral shades. Ash will counterbalance any unwanted warm tones, and neutral is going to give you the best amount of coverage. And you can intermix those colors together. So I started out showing my first model, which this is face framing highlights, and this is all the way to the scalp. So this is going to be, if you want highlights that are going to be all the way flush to the scalp, like you see that, I started that on this mannequin head here, just showing the sectioning, which you're just really doing the front of the hair. So you're working in front of the ear. So you're going to section off, and then you're just taking diagonal sections on the sides, maybe 3, 4 tops. That would be it. And maybe 3 or 4 through the top. So no more than 12 foils for any of this. And then on the other side, I was showing the balayage technique, which is hair painting. And it's more of a surface lightening. So you're taking much bigger sections. And I can show you this section. I'll bet you it's already lightening. I use the clips to get everything out of the way. You want to make sure that you're ordering your clips, your gloves, your foils. So you can see she's already getting like a little bit of lift there. And that's my balayage section. So it doesn't go all the way to the roots. So the lovely lady that I was showing for that technique, I just love the way this comes out. You get such a big bang for your buck. I mean, look at how gorgeous. And I mean, I curled her hair, so she's popping right now. But I mean, look at how beautiful that color is. And it's so like natural looking and sun-kissed, and she just wants to go lay out in the sun and go to the pool and do all the things we haven't been able to do. So if you guys are into this, please watch it again and test yourself, because maybe you're doing this at home. Maybe you're having a friend help you out. Clairol Professional products are there for you. We're there to help you achieve the color results that you want. And I'm so happy to be able to share this time with you. My name is Julie Cornejo. I am a Clairol Professional top stylist, and I hope everybody enjoys their day. Thank you so much for being with me.